So, Matty, you've been away for about 8 weeks now. I'm sure you got plenty of ideas up in the old noggin. What's the run-up to Christmas and beyond look like for you, beer-wise?
Plenty of ideas. Day one, Flex had me pegged down for 3 double brews in a row. I had to calm him down a little bit. First of all, we had to remake all the main beers because after 8 weeks, we'd nearly run out, which is a good thing. Yep. But of course, having been away and really refreshing and resetting, actually before I went to Europe in the first place, I spent a week down in Melbourne, firstly judging beers and then at BrewCon, which is the big independent brewers conference that's held once a year. So you basically spend a week hanging out with brewers from all over Australia, the best in the industry. So from that alone, you have a lot of ideas. And then the 7-8 weeks in Europe, of course, so many ideas stewing away in the head. So you have to sort of work out what you can do initially and then plenty of ideas for the next little while. So the first one we brewed today was a Strata Single Hop Ipa. So Strata is for Australia, a newish variety out of the States. It's an indie hop, which is great. Means it's a lot more accessible than some of the other hops. When I was in the States this time last year for the hop harvest, it was the big hop that all the brewers were raving about and was really hard to get. So I don't think it's really been showcased in Australia yet until this latest harvest that's just been done. So the idea is a single hop IPA. You just use the one hop to showcase what the hop can do. And me having never used it and hasn't been used very much in Australia, I'm really keen to see how it comes out. I opened the bag of hops and I haven't been that excited about a bag of hops, I think, since I first smelled Nelson Sauvin, maybe 10 years ago. It's just amazing. It's tropical, dank, and you can just picture, like I said before, what the beer is actually going to taste like just from smelling the hops. So I'm quite excited about that. We also used a yeast that is getting a bit of airtime at the moment, a Quebec strain, which is actually a traditional Norwegian yeast. In Norway, they brew beer for their family twice a year, and they basically store this yeast. It's like a family house yeast on a yeast ring, a Quebec ring, and then they brew their beer and they basically dip the ring into the beer and off it goes. So it's a very tolerant yeast strain. Hearing stories about it, it ferments very warm and very quickly. So you can basically make a beer from today when we brewed it, and it could be drinkable on Friday. So normally a beer takes 2 to 3 weeks for us until it's ready. The beer ferments warm, it ferments very quickly. So I'm expecting I come in tomorrow and there's beer all over the floor that's come out the top of the tank. Yeah, I'll have to wait and see. So we've used a new hop that I've never used before, a new yeast variety that I've never used, and also trialled a new malt. So 3 different things. So it's pretty cool.
It's one of those low-risk beers, you know?
Yeah, pretty low risk.
Something easy just to work your way back into
just to ease back into things. And then, of course, we have our second birthday coming up. So pondering whilst I was away what we're going to brew. Because we're turning 2, I thought we'd do 2 beers to make things interesting. Firstly, being an Australian summer, everyone loves a Pavolva. So we're going to brew a Pavolva Berliner Weiss. So sort of based on the Strawberry Wishes Berliner Weiss, and then use all the fruit you put in a Pavlova.
Yep.
And then Sal's going to bake a cake that matches a beautiful Pavlova. So we can have that with the candles, 2 candles for our second birthday. So I'm looking for
like lactose in it.
Yeah, it's going to have lactose. It's going to have kiwi fruit, blueberry, strawberry, all the things you have in a Pavlova.
Have you guys done a lactose beer here before?
We did the espresso martini, which is a dark beer with lactose.
Milk stout as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I can't remember actually. I think that's it. And then the second one of the most popular beers we've done is the beer Hendo and I made, the TDH Hazy IPA.
My favourite.
So we've released that twice, and basically within 2 weeks the whole batch is gone. So I thought, second birthday.
Do you mean it's double released?
Yeah, it's been double released. we like all these sort of acronyms and having a laugh about where the beer industry has gone.
Twice dry hopped. So what's coming up for the beer?
So last year we did the double IPA. So I thought, why don't we do the double TDH? So
how will you acronym that?
It's going to be a 2 times TDH Hazy IPA.
Double TDH.
So it makes your head spin just thinking about it.
Yeah,
but the idea is it's going to be a little bit higher in alcohol and then have all that beautiful fruity, punchy flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Your pipeline sounds amazing. Can I just say?
Yeah. So I do have plenty more ideas bubbling away, but we're running out of time in the year. So they're probably the three big ones between now and Christmas.
Which one do you envision to be the most difficult to brew? Obviously, you've just sort of done the Strata or in the process of doing that one. How do you think that's going to rate in difficulty to the Pavolva?
The brewing process itself was fine because the base is similar to our IPA. It's the fermentation I'm very interested in. So I've never done a Quebec beer. When I was down at BrewCon, speaking to other brewers that had done it, they said it's just crazy. As a brewer, you're taught to really look after your yeast, and generally you wouldn't let it go warmer than, say, 22, 23 degrees. These ones ferment at 35, which is crazy. Normally you'd get all these off flavours, higher alcohols, all these unpleasant things happening where it really stresses the yeast and it's not good, and which isn't going to make a good beer. But from all reports, it ferments really quickly and comes out really clean. So I'm pretty excited to come in tomorrow and actually see what's happened overnight.
Which Kvike strain did you use?
It starts with an O. I can't remember off the top of my head.
With that one, did you come up with that idea because you went to the hop harvest? Is that where the idea started coming?
Definitely the hops are from the hop harvest, and then I thought I sort of combined two ideas because I had too many ideas. I thought, why don't we try this?
Kill two birds with one stone.
And then if it works, I'm keen to release a series of single hop IPAs of more varieties that aren't as prominent, I guess. A lot of brewers use the same three hops in their IPAs and their pale ales, Simcoe, Citra and Mosaic. I'm trying to sort of go away from that a little bit and use some of these different hops. There's all these constant development with the hop growers to grow different varieties. So, and a lot of them you don't really get a chance, or you don't see them around as much, or they're used with other hops. So it'd be cool to sort of do that and showcase other hops on their own and to actually really see what they're like. So come up with a good base beer, and then from that, put a single hop in it and really showcase the hop.
And just build upon that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of the idea.
What do you think of that pipeline, Hendo?
I would like to drink them.
Me too.
It's got to be a good Christmas.
Yeah.
I
think. It sounds like we'll all be quite jolly.
Yeah.
The Pavolva thing. Have you seen? I mean, look, there's heaps out there at the moment. Have you seen anything similar like that before?
Oh, there's so many beers out there now that are like different sours with different fruits and stuff like that. These sort of ideas basically literally just start with having a beer. Like, I think I was talking to Flex about this initially. Like, what can we do for the birthday this year? We thought about doing a fruit salad, but then someone else did it, and they're like, I don't want to do the same thing. No. And then let's do a variant of that. Like the Pavlova in an Australian summer is a classic. So let's make a beer based on the Pavlova. So probably similar to something you'd come up with for Gabs, whereas you sort of make this style. But I just picture it being super drinkable and refreshing when it's hot in Queensland.
I did have I think it was Moondog, the Black Forest stout, and that was the only one sort of similar to a cake or something like that I'd had recently. But just amazing what you can do these days when you have that creative range, creative freedom.
You're really only limited by your imagination. And then you sort of think, all right, I've got this crazy idea, how to actually turn it into a beer, and then a beer that's going to be nice to drink. So it's all right to make the beer, which someone like Moondog make a lot of beers. Not always do the beers come out, I guess, as the brewer intended or become mainstays or whatever. So really the hard part is converting it, a wacky idea, into something that's actually drinkable, particularly when you've never made it before. You get one chance at it. Yeah. And we're brewing 1,500. We don't have a trial brewery, so pretty much any idea I have to make a commercial batch. Yeah. So, yeah. Sort of.
You come and borrow my Braumeister, mate.
Could do.
Speaking of only being limited by your own imagination, do you find that if you have a lot of ideas running through, you have to sort of condense it and go, well, actually, that's a bit too much.
Let's
refine.
Yeah.
Like you said, maybe there is a couple of different beers in this idea rather than just one big concoction.
But ultimately, we're all about well-made beers and good brewing processes. So if you have good brewing processes behind you, it allows you to make these weird and wonderful beers. But whenever I go to a brewery, I'll still try their pale ale and their lager to see what the brewer's like. That's always the ultimate sort of test to see what their beer making skills are like. You go to breweries and they put all these different fruits, lots of different hops. Actually masks a lot of the base beer, I guess. Yeah. So for me, you have to make the base beer well to begin with, and then you can play around and put different stuff into it and go for different flavours.
Yeah, indeed.
Absolutely. And this goes back a little bit to what we were saying previously, but obviously the TDH, a collaboration between Rockstar Brewer and Revel. How does all that travelling, all those ideas, how does that help your collaboration process?
Like I was saying before, it's like, the brewer brews a beer is the sum of their experience and that sort of thing. And I guess when Maddie and I make a beer together, the best of what we want out of it and the things that we emphatically agree on wind up in the beer itself. So we've seen the rise of hazy IPAs and New England IPA and that sort of thing, and we've had a lot of discussions over a lot of beers going, well, if we're going to make one, I'm not going to poo-poo the style. Let's make one and do it to the best of our ability and taking all of our experience into it. And there was a lot of research that sort of went into that beer. I'm looking forward to the double TDH or the TDH. I don't even know what it's going to be called yet. But, I know that Matty's going to take it and he's going to turn it into something awesome, and he's going to use his amazing experience as a skillful brewer to do that style justice from a quality perspective.
And did you sort of mimic the same sentiments in regards to like traveling and then having these ideas that could potentially be good for collaboration?
Oh, absolutely. And I think anytime you travel somewhere else, whether it's the closest brewery down the road or you're in Europe or you're in America or wherever, you're constantly learning new stuff. Every time you talk to another brewer or a hop farmer or a malt supplier, you're always just picking up little things, so you just keep building on your experience. Mm-hmm. And it's all about sort of taking that knowledge and just continually making better beers.
Yeah.
For me, that's the end goal, just keep getting better at what we do.
Mm. And what would you say maybe the biggest takeaway was of your whole trip, brewing-wise, like put your brewer's hat on for a minute, maybe one thing that just stuck out in your head as to an idea you might implement or just something that blew your mind? What was something that really stuck with you?
Just to me, the thing was how clean and how precise some of their lagers were. It was just amazing. Yeah. You're drinking, I guess in Australia, if we drink mainstream lager, it's full of ester. To me, I don't find it very pleasant to drink.
Yeah.
And I don't drink lager because of that. But you go to Germany, and I actually really enjoyed drinking the lager. That is so well made.
Yeah.
And I've just been doing the same thing over and over and just refining it over hundreds of years.
It's Augustina Helles. It's
just a really nice drinking beer.
It's just, there's something in it. It's so clean and crisp and balanced and drinkable, and you're like, I want to make a beer that good.
And you're like, that's what it's meant to be like.
Yeah.
So what about yourself, Hendo? Is that something? Is there something else that sticks out, or would you?
I share. Matty's point of view on in regards to sort of having a nice, clean, crisp lager and that sort of thing. For me, I'm really looking forward to trying some of these new German hop varieties like the Ariana sort of thing. I really want to make an Italian Pilsner, if that's what you're going to call it, and that sort of thing. Because I'm still now, and it's been a few weeks since I've gotten back, I'm still processing those aromas that I was smelling from the hop vines in the Hallertau as they were harvested, going, how can I make a beer? How can I do a beer justice with these amazing hops? So that's the main thing that's going through my head.